Okay, we'll start the meeting in 5, 4,
Sorry,
3.
Tomas, we don't see anything on our screens
Oh,
here.
let me
We're
see.
not live, and yeah, we don't see anything.
Let me see.
Oh, do you see it now? Oh, your monitor seems to. We don't see the Zoom piece or whatever it is.
Huh. Yeah. Let me see.
Just have to go from memory.
Are you still not you're still not seeing it?
Linda is not present today. All other members are present. Hopefully everyone had a chance to look at the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alrighty. Agenda is adopted. Moving forward then to public comment. Is there any public comment today? I guess we're...
Recording in progress.
Here we go.
No one in the meeting currently. Oops.
There's...
No one in the meeting.
Wonderful. Okay. No public comment then. No one
And no emails either.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Moving on then, can I get approval of the minutes from the last meeting of October 2nd, 2024? Or any comments on the notes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second the motion to approve the minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Minutes are approved then. And moving on to old business, which is the investigation of potential one-way streets on Mariposa and Monterey between Visitacion and Solano, where we're continuing the discussion from last time. And I guess I'll turn over to staff to sort of set us up here.
Well, we had a presentation last time from the Public Works Director and kind of a little more detail about the reasoning and the goal of changing those streets to one-way. And I think the next step really is to do the outreach with the neighbors before we come up with parts we want to change or things we don't like. We kind of want to hear from those neighbors. So I think we're just kind of planning how to do that is the next step.
So I guess during today's meeting, then we'll sort of figure that piece out. That's sort of the task.
unless there was something significant that members thought of between last meeting and this about what was presented.
Was that like the layout that you want to present to the neighbors? Like anything in that regard?
Yeah,
I was thinking about a couple things. When you mentioned the sidewalk on Solano between Monterey and Mariposa, those crossings on Mariposa are very steep, and it's been commented that they were steep. And so I think the prohibiting anybody from really using that as a route, especially to the school, because then they have to cross the street at the entrance to the school, the nursery school, which is kind of because there's hedges there, it kind of makes it a blind spot where cars that are leaving from the silver spot right there at that crosswalk. So we could keep everybody from even having to cross there again. But there's that island, of course, that was built on Humboldt. No. Oh, is that where Humboldt starts? Right there?
Yeah, Humboldt at Solano.
Monterey and Solano.
Yeah, that was where we're encouraging kids to walk to school.
But I was thinking that the fact that it's an island is going to be difficult for people that can no longer go straight down from Humboldt down Monterey and have to turn left, or would tend to want to turn left on Solano, especially for bigger vehicles. That island's would seem to be an obstacle.
Can you show that on?
It's a curved island.
Are you guys not seeing my screen right now?
I can see it.
Okay.
I think it's right there on your slide deck. Is that what you're talking about?
To the left, going up, right there. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're not on Google.
I guess your concern is that the cars, or I guess pedestrians going there would be, or just generally, if we make this one way, it'd be a more challenging.
Well, on the picture on the.
Oh, we can see what you have, Thomas. Can you see? Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're getting something different on YouTube though, so it just is the
okay.
is why.
Got it.
So just give me one quick sec. Okay, well, I'm gonna try this one more time. If not,
Recording in progress.
you guys still see my screen or no?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
Great.
I think Paul was referring to maybe the island there on Solano in the second picture down. If you just scroll down a tiny bit.
Right there where
Yeah.
you.
Perfect. So that island there is,
Yeah, that island there. Actually, that other picture actually showed it too as well. If you come down to that stop sign and you were coming down Humboldt and you were going to make the left to go down Solano, that island.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
And then,
What about it?
well, it's going to be an obstacle for bigger vehicles, bigger than a car or pickup truck, to make a left turn down Solano.
Well,
I was just.
able to make it
I-
before.
Pardon me?
Were they able to make that turn before?
Well, yeah, they do, but it's the way you pull up to the stop sign at that crosswalk. You'd have to actually, or maybe sometime we could walk out there and look at it to see. But it's only because it's going to be a primary left turn from now on, because most people don't make that left turn there. They go straight down the hill that are coming down Humboldt.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we could take a closer look at that. The idea is to do a meeting out there, so that would be a good time to look at it.
Yeah. Was that the kind of questions you were looking for?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I think that's a little detailed, but it's part of what we want to figure out if we're going to make this
Well,
work.
I only said that for a couple of reasons, because it seems like it's probably going to be redone to some degree. And if we could eliminate passage where that red car and that other car is, the two circles in that picture, so you didn't have to deal with the crosswalk down at Mariposa.
Right.
So it seems like this is going to be the primary route to school, or
I think that was one of the suggested, right? Was either get rid of those cars permanently or have that be a walkway. And I think you're saying if that walkway is closed, like the second picture here, then we should address this crosswalk more.
Yeah, that these cars would then probably be allowed to park there because the sidewalk
It's closed, yeah.
could be closed.
Thomas, can you? Is it possible to get the like a Google map and maybe navigate a little bit?
Yeah.
But I guess our main objective tonight is sort of figure out how we want to have the outreach, sort of, and what questions and what to address, and how we want to move forward with that part of it. But I guess, yeah, this is the.
Right, so kind of similar to what we did with the day in the park. I think this time it'll be a little harder to figure out scheduling because we probably want to do this in the evening during weekdays when neighbors are probably home. But yeah, that'll be something we want to figure out this meeting, when we want to go out there, what we want to bring, how we want to collect information.
So yeah, I mean, there's some options, but we need to know what the neighbors are going to want with regard to the parking or the sidewalk. I mean, they're probably going to pick the parking, right? We don't know that for sure, but if people that live near there probably think there's a shortage of parking, I would guess.
Did you say you probably are going to lose their parking?
No, I think that if it's up to the neighbors, they're going to want the parking when there's a crosswalk on the
and
other
I thought
side.
that by allowing them to park there, because most areas in Brisbane, the sidewalks are impacted to some degree, making it to where you have to use the streets to walk in. So, but the fact that's really not a safe passage, and even trying to make the right turn down on walking on the sidewalk down Mariposa could be a challenge.
I guess I thought you were going to say that you didn't like the crosswalk across Mariposa at Solano on the downhill side. Is that what you were?
Yeah, that crosswalk's not a good crosswalk. Doesn't seem safe. It's too steep.
Slope, right.
And
I was thinking, we could close that crosswalk too, but if a kid lives on Mariposa or a person and they're up at the pool or the Silver Spot or Lippman, they're gonna want to cross to get on their side of the street if they live on the opposite side. It was probably be a lot less people that would use that crosswalk, but I don't think we should take it away.
Oh, well, yeah, there it is. Okay.
I guess in terms of outreach that's been done in projects similar to this, because this might be one of the first ones I'm a part of, what do we envision in terms of, do we like just post up, say, hey, we'll be here, on the corner hanging out, or is it like come to the community center, and like how do we get that outreach done, and sort of, how much time ahead of time do we need to sort of pitch this piece to people?
Yeah, good question, because we feel like inviting people somewhere isn't as effective. Like, no one comes to these meetings. Well, a couple people did, but not very many people, let's say. And meeting them where they are seems like it would make sense. So our idea was to put some cones out where parking spaces would be, so we're not out in the street, because we need an area for people to gather and kind of all see what we're showing. I don't know. I guess I imagine that we would have printouts of the PowerPoint so that people could follow that while we talk about it. And I was thinking that we would do one in the evening and one on a weekend morning, so we can capture everybody, because not everybody can come at a certain time. I don't know. I mean, we could send a letter, but it seems like it's a friendlier approach to say, we've got cookies and coffee or whatever, and come out of your house and talk to us about this. So what do you guys think about that?
So when Randy presented, the comprehensive, different technical points about Mariposa and Monterey, I'm not sure if he went into Solano. I guess my question is, maybe we do a little bit of more work on Solano before we do the reach out to the public. And in terms of where to meet, we could, ask them and see what they say. How do you usually reach out to to the people? Is it by mail or?
Yeah, well, yeah, we've done mailers. Tomas and I just dropped a letter at on Thomas Street again about the parking permit program because it's kicked off and people are starting to apply. So we wanted to get those out a couple of ways and make sure everybody saw them. But yeah, we don't have like a list of email addresses. We don't have a lot of other easy ways to get a hold of people just in a certain area other than grabbing the addresses and sending them something.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a little challenge to get a group of, I don't know, if you're gonna get, let's say, the Mariposa folks and the Monterey and now Solano, that's gonna be a big group. And if we're gonna be try to explain to them or go through the motions or what is it that we're doing and we're on the street, might make it a little awkward.
It depends how large the turnout, but I know what you mean. You don't want to be blocking half a block with people who can't necessarily hear or see what you're trying to present with their hangout sheets.
And then there's cars and stuff like that. So the other, but going back to Solano, that that is a good point that on that intersection on Humboldt, I guess you could probably, the person could also make a right and then go turn on the other street left, right? To get to Visitation. So that would be one option. But then if they're going to go left, to go down Mariposa, it's a matter of calculating that radius and then put some sort of signage and say, vehicle bigger than X amount, you can't do that. And then in terms of the kids' walkway, so if kids are coming from Monterey, so they would just cross all the way to the other street, not to the side that where we're thinking of either having the people decide to leave that as a sidewalk or as a parking lot, but the other side.
Yeah, let's say the uphill or the downhill side.
Yeah.
Yeah, the medallions are already telling them to go across and go on the uphill side because of that crosswalk across Mariposa at Solano being steep, particularly.
Right, and that seems doable. Maybe add a little more signs or whatever to make it more clear. But that seems like a straightforward thing to do.
I've noticed sometimes people coming up Monterey, making the turn here on Solano where that red car is there, and it's hard to see people that are crossing there. And that's, once again, it has to do with bushes that are blocking the people's view. So that's something that we should also be looking at.
You mean coming up Monterey and then taking a right onto Solano?
Yes.
Okay, so actually, the good thing about AB 413 is this will be, I don't know how often cars are parking here because I don't live in this neighborhood, but let's say maybe, I'm sure it would improve visibility if cars are unable to park right up at the stop sign. But I agree with you, the bushes are also intrusive to people's view, but hopefully AB 413 helps address that issue by not having cars directly at the stop sign.
Emily, did you have something you wanted to say too?
Thank you. Yeah. What if we just pick some dates? Yeah. And just say like a night and a morning for Monterey and a night and a morning for Mariposa, so it isn't so many and so awkward. And one hopes we get at least one person from every house. Don't know if that's going to happen, but one hopes, right? So you get buy-in from everybody, or at least feedback from everybody on those streets. But at least start there. And
So you would do Mariposa and Monterey separately because we kind of
if the concern is, like Christian mentioned, that you could feasibly have a lot of people blocking the road, basically, if we're going to do it out on their street. I don't know whoever has the longest driveway, I guess, and ask them if we can borrow their driveway.
I was going to say, Christian, do you have a big garage?
But just pick 2 dates. Let's see what feedback we get. Because I know last meeting we had, was it 2 or 3 community members who came and spoke, and 2 from actually on those streets. And I think they're already talking to their neighbors. They already have opinions about it. So let's just get the ball going, put some dates, and go meet and start conversations.
One idea was to use our next meeting date as the night meeting. So that would be a Wednesday at 6:30, and that's December
December
2nd and
4th.
4th.
Yeah. I think the week before is Thanksgiving, but I do like the idea of at least setting some time before that as well. Maybe, I don't know if the 22nd or Friday beforehand or something, or whatever day works to get out there. I guess for Solano, would we need one there as well, or would we try to sort of encourage people to come, kind of, or we do, I guess I'm not sure how many residences are on sort of Solano versus the sides there. I know there's a couple, but I just don't know sort of what we were thinking there too, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, we want to include them too.
Yeah.
Through the chair.
So, sorry, you going to say something?
Yeah. Paul,
So our intentions are just to inform people of what needs to be done in this situation because of the emergency vehicles primarily, and the fact that there's a school at the end of that dead end road, and that's kind of what spurred this whole trying to reconfigure how traffic moves through there.
Yeah, I don't know if the school spurned it, but yeah, there's a lot of school traffic. Yeah, we're going to get feedback. We're trying to convince them that it's going to be a good solution
but
too.
this is not a mandate. It's not that we're telling them this is happening. I think we're sort of seeing how they feel about this.
Yeah.
So, okay, so with that said, I was thinking, like, because they're going to be impacted, the people that are impacted, like, Inyo should also be included. I mean, most people that come down Mariposa turn left on Inyo anyway when they're leaving town instead of going to the corner Visitation, because it's been mentioned that that's dangerous trying to turn at Visitation there. So
That's a good point.
I believe it was mentioned that
And
was
that's come up.
the intersection, right? Yeah.
That's come up. Yeah.
So in terms of how we go about doing this, so we'll be the committee, and then we knock on some doors, and then we get maybe as many people we can from one street, and then we walk them and show them with the presentation.
Well, I thought we were going to mail them a letter inviting them to a meeting on the street at Wednesday, December 4th at 6:30, not have to knock on doors.
Well, through the chair, why don't maybe we can arrange at the library to have that facility that has everything and AV and everything we need, and
Corner there, yeah.
it's centrally located.
Yeah, if you guys are optimistic, I mean, do you think people would come there more quickly than they would come here?
Oh, I thought you were mentioning wanting to have something in the neighborhood.
Yeah, but that was like right on the street, like as convenient as could be. But
Okay.
I don't know. Do you think people would come to the library? Would that be better? I was thinking, just talking to Tomas about if we pick December 4th, what if it's rainy? It's going to be dark. What if it's the one at night, when we're going to have to cancel at the last minute? How do we get the word out about that? It would be nice to be inside, but I just think I'm not really sure how to get people to come.
I guess if we did send a mailer and the idea was to have it at the next meeting here, potentially invite people to come, would we also, I guess, is it either or? Would we also do an event where we kind of, I don't know if we go door to door, or just send a mailer first and see if anyone, even replies? You send like a flyer kind of thing with, like
A
an
letter,
RSVP
flyer.
or something?
When I was picking that date, it was because we already have that in our calendars.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily to do it here.
Okay. I see.
Because,
Well, but I mean, if we invite people, maybe they would show if they knew this was sort of the topic of the agenda. I'm not sure how many people will look at our agenda ahead of time. But I also like
True.
the idea of sort of setting maybe 2 times up to just go there and say, hey, we're here. As long as people know we're there, I don't know that we should just walk door to door either.
no, it'll be, we should send a flyer or a letter ahead of time.
I
For
think
sure.
definitely having the heads up, but I'm happy to go knock on doors and say, hey, on December 4th, we're going to have a meeting at the library or here at the, City Hall. Please join us. We'd love to have your feedback. I think we should keep, if we're doing it here, we should keep it more round table and less formal than this,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it feels more inviting and more like we want your feedback, we want your involvement.
Maybe we should, I don't know anything about using the library and at night, but maybe we should do one there, the Wednesday night, and see if we get good response. And then if not, decide to do another one out on the street. And if it's on, it seems better to be on the street in the daylight to me than on a Wednesday night when it's going to be cold and it could be whatever, you know. So yeah, maybe we.
So another approach would be maybe we could probably go there as a group and do like a dry run and then knock on some doors and just give them a heads up. Hey, you're gonna be you're gonna be receiving an invite to get everybody's opinion on this initiative, and then by us also going and doing a walk and check things out, we'll have a better idea. So then and then we will meet with them. We understand it better. A little bit of field work, in other words.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my only thought would be if you knock on doors, you're going to get the feedback right then. And people aren't maybe going to want to come to a meeting. But if you have a way to gather that, that's okay. You know, take some notes. And, I talked to the people at, 21 Mariposa, and they said they think this, that'd be okay too. But I would expect that some people, here's my chance to give you feedback, and I don't want to go to a meeting at this other time,
And perhaps we have a flyer with a QR code or something, so if they want to give more feedback, they can submit it that way or verbally do it, or do sort of both. I agree, maybe we do a mixed approach, and then, we'll have a sense of people. If we get a ton of feedback already, maybe we don't need another meeting, or maybe we do have sort of informal one.
So, yeah, I was thinking like somebody had mentioned a mailer. And the people that spoke here, a lot of them were really concerned about speed. And it was mentioned that one-way streets tend to make people go faster. And so those things are really super valid, especially on narrow streets like we have, right? But to go door to door, I think what could happen is we'd miss a lot of people for various reasons. A lot of times people don't have time to want to. I mean, we're going to have something to present to them that shows what it could look like with the bump out and stuff they were talking about on Mariposa and Inyo, to make it a softer turn right there on the left turn on the Inyo. And I'm getting into the specifics, but I only bring it up because I could see a lot of people feeling like they didn't get a chance to participate in such a critical change in their neighborhood or on their street. So if we could maybe just make an announcement in the Star that's coming up that this is what's being proposed, go to the link and it shows what it could look like, what the different variations are of the project, because, they need time to look at that. And so we could then present, have a meeting at the library or somewhere, but that's been my experience. I could see people feeling like they got left out if we didn't get a chance to talk to them at their doorstep.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds like we need to do all the above, and even put it on that the entrance by the park, that board, just to make sure they understand. Because I don't check my snail mail that much. I don't know if they do.
Yeah, I agree. I think it seems we have a couple pronged approach, and I do agree. We don't necessarily want to just knock on the door and have a whole presentation either. So it sort of has to be a tailored piece of, it's not a, hey, this is what we're doing, but this is one or a few options, while still giving time to. I do like the idea of setting some time, though. I guess, would the next step be to pick one of these approaches then and actually get out there? Do we need to make a flyer or something that's more, not a multi-page PDF here? What are we thinking in terms of how that outreach begins, so we're not waiting until the next meeting to sort of have some action as well?
No,
Flyer sounds good.
I like the idea of, a flyer that you guys, so maybe a flyer with the information about a meeting at the library, although I'm texting Caroline and she said there's Tai Chi at the library on Wednesdays at 6, but maybe after, maybe at 7 we can have it, 7:15. So we could have, this meeting is coming up at this time. Here's a link, QR code that links you to the slides on the website, and another one to give feedback or please come to this meeting. And then we send that out, but you guys also walk around with it, and if someone's not home, you stick it in their door.
I think that would sounds, yeah.
Because when it's in your door, you're gonna see it.
Right. Yeah, I'm not, I'm on board for one-on-one presentations if after December 4th, we don't get everybody and go knocking on doors. I was just saying, personally, I'm happy to go put a flyer saying, come to the meeting on the 4th or whatever date we pick, to get people excited to come. And if you're gonna bring them, cookies or hot dogs, I think you've, suggested in the past, whatever gets them there.
That helps, right?
Yep.
All
I like
right.
that idea.
So I guess December 4th would be a potential time for that meeting to occur then. In lieu of our normal meeting, we would do sort of that meeting at the library potentially.
So Caroline is saying that, she's got the schedule. Mondays or Tuesdays are better.
And I will tell you, the library closes at 8, so we would have to be out by 8. So keep that in mind. If we're gonna do 7:15, it might be crunch time.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's 8 o'clock. That's their closing hours.
She gave me November. I don't know how to go to December.
Yeah, one option is to reschedule the meeting. I mean, we just also put the word out about that. But if December 4th doesn't work, we could also just reschedule maybe to that Monday. But just throwing that out there.
Sorry, she sent me the schedule, but it's for November, so I am not sure. I guess this is what's normally on these days, that there's nothing in the evenings. On Monday and Tuesday.
I guess does the rest of the committee have flexibility on that week? Because it would be still the first week of December then, just maybe not on the 4th. Is that the suggestion then?
Yeah.
Depending library, that would work. Would that work for? I know that we need the entire. I mean, everyone would be welcome. Obviously, I don't know that we need everyone either, but obviously, no commitment needed at the moment. But just something to think through, and also obviously we should let Linda know as well and coordinate there.
I can't do the Monday the 2nd. We rescheduled our OSEC that week because of Thanksgiving. So could we do the 3rd?
It works for me.
The 3rd, that would be. Yeah, I'm available as well.
Anybody concerned that that's getting into the holiday season in a way that would negatively impact this?
No, I think we're early enough
Early
in
enough.
December.
I guess, that's not part of the. When's the Star Festival thing in the day in the park? Or, the Lighting of the Stars day? Is that
Oh,
Sunday
those
the
are always
8th.
on a
The 8th, okay.
Sunday, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we would not be televising our meeting, but we could put it on YouTube. We could, well, I don't know, can we? We can do the Zoom can be uploaded to YouTube. So we would need a way to have a Zoom meeting. I guess, I don't know, would we offer people to participate by Zoom? I hadn't thought about that. Because I was thinking it was going to be a physical meeting in the neighborhood.
I guess I did like your point of maybe not too formal, so maybe like a presentation and then sort of like a roundtable chat with people. I don't know if we need to come up to the mic and talk, or maybe just individually with people, but there should be some, I guess, presentation, maybe these slides as well. Yeah. I don't know if Zoom, though, if it becomes more challenging, to try to get the recording going, all that, and in real time, it might be more distracting.
And it wouldn't work with that kind of a model, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and I get there are parents who won't, who need to get their kids in bed and won't be able to come but that's why we're going to offer a Saturday morning or a Sunday afternoon or, another time that might work for the people who can't come at the evening.
Okay, so December 3rd works time, then we're not really bound by our meeting time. Should we shoot for 6 or 6:30 still good?
That's still fine for me. I have no preference, no strong preference for me.
Those with kids probably have the most to say about this.
Yeah, I mean, 6:30 works for me, but I'm also trying to think of like the actual residents of the streets. I don't know what the population is exactly there. So do they want to eat their dinner, early at 5:30, come to meeting at 6:30 or 6? I don't know.
Well,
If they close at 8, maybe we say 6:30, just to have a little bit more time.
okay.
It's very close to both streets, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's walkable, so that's positive. All right,
And I
let's
guess
start
would the
then.
plan be, Karen, for one of you to present the plan? Would it be for us to present sort of the proposal here, or how would we frame that part of the discussion as well in terms of the slides here?
Are you volunteering or?
I mean, I don't mind doing it. I just don't know if you prefer, like, if there was, if there was like a the way we do this. We haven't, yeah.
It's kind of new. It's new for us too. So we're not reinventing a wheel. We are inventing the way to do this. So I don't know. You know, there's both. Maybe we technically know more about it, but you guys are more of the peers, and sometimes it helps to have other community members other than city government saying this should happen. Like, hey, we think this is a good idea because of this. So maybe we could figure out a way to share the presentation.
And maybe we frame it, rather than sharing, or I don't know if it's just like, hey, here's a presentation. Maybe we just kind of open up with what are some of the pain points and how would people solve it, and then have these as either printout or there in person. That's something else we can maybe think about of how to sort of frame it, so it's not just, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is the plan already, you know. Because these slides are nice, but it could come off as sort of, hey, this is happening already, right? And yeah, I'd be curious to see what the other committee members think of how to sort of present this.
So, on this slide here that shows the, like you show the crosswalk closed sign. So that was because of the issue at Mariposa probably, and how steep those crosswalks were that we were trying to eliminate using that, right? That was why?
No, that's to, if we're going to allow people to park, it's not wide enough to use as a sidewalk.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but, well, I would say both of those things.
Well,
would
like I said, I think
makes sense as to why we should probably keep that sidewalk from being used. But it's not about that, Karen, as far as what the plan was for that. It's about, are we going to inform them as to why we didn't want the sidewalk being used, or why there's no parking signs there? Like, the no parking is there because we want to use the sidewalk.
Oh yeah, I think we should show these slides and explain that. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like here there's like sort of two options, proposal 1 and 2. Maybe you have them so printed out or side by side, as well as these are the options. I don't think we're set on these. I think maybe there's a preference or a seeming preference, but I don't know that that's.
Well, I wasn't even thinking about these in particular. I was just about in anything in general being a little more description as to why you chose to do that.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned about initially the issue with the fire trucks not being able to navigate the area.
I do think we go through kind of a little presentation in the beginning, like, this is why we've gathered you. We want your feedback. This is the problem we see. These are some of the solutions that we have penciled out. Let's talk about it.
Right. So it will be, part of it is people complaining, right? Especially on that intersection on Monterey and Solano. You know, the people that are going up and coming down, they're always squeaking, and there's a lot of, close situation of cars, getting too close of a collision or why not. But in the flyer, you have like bullet points, and, these are the reasons, and these are some of the solutions, and you could divide that by street, Monterey, Solano, and Mariposa, and sort of say, these three. So now this is going to be the new route.
So maybe, I guess, in terms of next steps would be make one of those flyers. Or I guess, is this something that one of us would want to take a stab at? Or is this something, and I'm happy to take a stab at a flyer potentially, that would be condensed version that's and send it out beforehand? I know we want to, probably have a mailer and printout, and the timeline of that, I guess, is my question. Sort of how we want to, do that piece in terms of making the physical flyer. I don't know if we have a flyer already or if we make a new one.
We don't have a flyer yet, and I like the idea of linking to the slides.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you want to do a draft of it, we can.
I could help with that and maybe work with Tomas and send you a note for that. This week I could take care of that, since we probably want to get that proofread and sort of out there sooner rather than later. And the meeting would then be December 3rd potentially, if that's still an option. And we would have to work on, I guess, whether it's this presentation or, some other presentation we want to make at the pitch at the beginning. Yeah.
I think it would be good to get the flyer done in the next week.
Yeah.
So we can get it out before Thanksgiving week, when people might be leaving for the holiday. So that way they can at least know, oh, I'm coming back from holiday and there's this community event, a meeting that I want to go to. So they have that on their calendar and on their thought process. And then to the point of the presentation, my thoughts would be to have, like you said, Karen, just a condensed starting it. Here's what brought this conversation to the top, and open it up to conversation and just see where it goes with the neighbors, but not starting with the conversation because that just might take the whole night.
Right.
This deck does have a little intro piece at the top, or does this not include that yet? I know we had seen that somewhere, but I'm not sure if this one had an extensive. We may obviously have to.
This one's pretty minimalist with text. It's kind of more about the images, but I think we can definitely incorporate more like explanations, more reasons why this is a problem, and why the solutions are what they are.
So I guess I'll take the action item this week to get a flyer. And is it appropriate for me to send it to you first, or the committee email address? I know we're not supposed to email each other, so how would that be the best to, or put it in the Dropbox thing we have?
I think we can, Darcy and I can kind of work on it directly, and then maybe once we feel like we got maybe close to a final, we can share with the rest of the committee. Or I can share it just to be safe. Just yeah.
And then you will confirm the day and the library time. I guess the booking of the library and all that will be confirmed on your side.
Yeah, we'll work on that. Yeah.
Cool. And then I guess the other piece would be for maybe the committee members to sort of go ahead and canvass the area as well, in addition to sending out the flyer before that meeting. Then, so if we have some availability, maybe we can kind of, once the flyer is confirmed, kind of print them out and do that piece. And coordinate
So
that.
yeah, could you come by City Hall to pick some up? Would that be the best thing to do?
One more time?
Or I guess either you could come pick them up if we print them in color, or we could send you a PDF. But I don't know if you guys want to necessarily print them at home.
Yeah. It might be easiest if you could print a couple and we just come grab a handful or something, and we can coordinate sort of so we're not over canvassing either. Depending on who has sort of availability, maybe the week of say the 20th or something, right before Thanksgiving. There.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and we can make sure to incorporate Inyo. I mean, I'm just kind of, if you guys are seeing my screen right now, I was envisioning this, this square, everything inside of it, but make sure we're getting all the streets that are going to be affected.
Right,
And then
including Mendocino as well
right.
in that, yeah.
And then also we can kind of we can reach out to Caroline and see if something in the Star, like Paul said, would be feasible.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, if we put it in the Star, we might get a lot more people in town coming in.
Because then from the Star it goes to Facebook, from what I understand. So someone spreads it around.
Wonderful. All right, I think we're set maybe in terms of next steps there. Anyone have anything else to comment on sort of this piece of business in the committee then?
So yeah, I think when they post it on Star, it goes into Instagram and then Facebook, right? And then are you going to have something on the board on the entrance of the park?
I was thinking just because this is neighborhood specific, maybe we wouldn't need to go that far, but I'm open to what the rest of the committee thinks.
Maybe we see how the turnout is. If we don't get any turnout, then we sort of resort to opening it up to see if that's a better way of getting to those specific neighbors. But yeah, I'm sort of also leaning to maybe not making it, on the main piece, because just to make sure we get the feedback from this community specifically as well.
Yeah, I mean, those neighbors are more impacted than other people, I think, and they should have a little bit of priority in telling us their feedback.
And there will be a phase of further reach out after this anyway. This is the first sort of initial reach out as well, so I think there would be additional pieces beyond that too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't suspect we're going to make a decision right after the meeting, right? It might take a little bit of time.
No, not that quick, yeah.
Or we're going to put that into a vote.
Well, I don't know about that. What do you mean? A citywide vote? No.
No, I'm saying after we have the meeting, and if we have like a good turnout, and then who's in favor, raise your hand, or something like that. Or what's going to be, the approach to that we will feel comfortable that we have enough people and they agree and we're going to move forward with the initiative.
I don't know the answer to that. I think we're just trying to figure out what people's concerns are and allay those fears. And some of it, I think, in the outreach is, like I've said before, is try driving it that way. It's not that much more inconvenient, Do a few times before this meeting and tell us what you think, or tell us what your concerns are, But, yeah, I think we're trying to get people on board and agree, not count how many people are for and against,
Yeah, I mean, let's get them engaged, and then we need to ask them that we need to make a decision, and if we're going to put it in a vote, or this could be a call that the city doesn't really need a vote, but a buy-in from them, just a understanding that a lot of them agree.
Yeah, I think if you technically say, can the city impose this? Probably we are allowed to, but does the city want to decide to do something like that and get a lot of negative feedback? No. So this is like, let's figure out what the feedback is first, and if it's not overwhelmingly negative, then, we probably proceed.
So I guess, in the next meeting then with the public on the December 3rd, we would sort of have some more outreach, get feedback, and then the next meeting would then be in January, or I guess we would not have an additional meeting in December as a committee then.
Do you want to?
No, I think this would be instead of, right?
Yeah.
And just thinking about what sort of the next action item is in terms of how this feedback gets gathered back and whether it then becomes part of the next work plan for us, or does that get handed off to city and then we sort of move to the next piece as well, or what,
I'll ask, because I don't think I'm the final say in this, I think we should decide at that meeting whether we need to schedule another one, like how well attended it is.
How well received and such,
Yeah. But it probably would be hard to do another one before the holidays, I would think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Agreed. Thank you. That's clear for
Okay.
me then. Anyone else on this item? Any other comments or questions?
So just some clarification, after you do your, or maybe Tomas could send a summary just capturing, because a lot was said, right? So after we do the flyer, are we getting together and walking them and just hanging them out and get a feeling of the area, or this is going to be mail out and then we just spec, and then we gauge, how many people are going to, what the turnout is going to be and meet at the library?
I think the plan will be to put the flyer together, mail it out to the residents of those streets, but then also walk through and hand them out. And then for that meeting in December, right? We will have that meeting regardless, unless, I don't think we'd cancel that meeting if we don't hear anything from the people.
Correct. Yeah, it's not going to be RSVP based.
Yeah.
It's just, here it
It'd
is.
just be-
Come.
And I think ideally, if we could, maybe say the week of the 20th, if we could walk around that week, which would be 2 weeks from now, or maybe even Thanksgiving week to kind of put some flyers out, because hopefully that'll be enough time to sort of mail them out. I'm assuming that would also take a week or so to distribute them that way.
Are we walking as a group or as individuals with the flyers?
I think we'd, would you prefer to walk as a group? I was thinking individual, just that when we have some time we can break it up, but I'm sort of open to.
I think individual. I mean, I could do my street.
If you're open to that, and I sort of was kind of seeing who was available to kind of put that extra effort in or wanted to even do that. But if you're willing to and wanting to, we can all sort of take a
we
corner.
could probably team up in twos or whatever.
Do we want to break
I'm
that up
open
now
to
and
whatever.
just kind of assign now, or maybe in the email follow-up we can confirm the assignments?
Let's do that, because it's always better to have another committee member.
Yeah.
Because you might forget something or whatever in the conversation. Yeah.
But I also think if 5 of us show up at your door, you're going to want to talk about it. So
Yeah.
let's not all show up together. Let's divide and conquer.
I like that, yeah. Okay, maybe we can confirm that via the email when we send out the flyer piece and sort of verify, there's not many streets there, but I think Inyo for sure as well, and then Mariposa your street, and we can kind of, I think, subdivide that and loop Linda in as well.
Yeah, similar to Day in the Park, I'll send like an Excel sheet with when we're wrapping up the handout, and then maybe break it up by street, and just whenever you feel like works best for you to get to it.
I can confirm. Great. Wonderful. Alrighty, moving along then. I guess that completes our discussion of the old business. Is there anyone there's no public comment at this point for that section, I don't think? No?
No, I've been checking.
Okay, cool, thank you. So moving along, I guess, to new business, which there is none. So we will move along to staff updates.
Oh yeah, I have two. So you guys might remember the ACR TDM grant application regarding the Bayshore VWR bus stop relocation to the north side of the intersection. That project was also going to include sidewalk, curb and gutter, improvements to the traffic signal, striping improvements. And then we got word back last Friday that the grant was approved. The grant was approved for a maximum of $200,000, which was the max request. but we expected this project to cost significantly more than that. We wanted to request 450,000, and after talking with the program director, they advised us that they actually expect to be undersubscribed for that specific grant. So we were advised to, in the application, add an extra note saying we're requesting additional funds past the max amount of funds. And so basically the takeaway is we know for a fact that we were approved for the initial $200,000 request, and they are taking it to the board of CCAG to see if we're going to get approved for the, or sorry, not CCAG, the SMCTA to get approved for additional funds. So the good news is we at least know we have some funds for this project. Whether we get the whole amount requested is yet to be seen.
Let me add a second part to that, because I brought the resolution to council where they have to support the local match and all of that. I don't know if anybody saw that meeting, but a couple of people commented about moving the bus stop north, and that Old County isn't that far and you're moving it closer. And one of them was Chris, who comes to our meetings. And so there was a robust discussion amongst the council, and there was talk of why isn't that northbound bus stop moved down to San Bruno and Bayshore. And so I did let them know that we also applied for a highway safety improvement grant to signalize Bayshore and San Bruno, which we should hear by the end of the year whether we get that. And I don't know what the odds are. You kind of have to have a benefit cost ratio, and you have to compete with everybody else. So if we were able to signalize that intersection and Samtrans allowed it, we could move the bus stop, the northbound one, down there. People seem to think it was a good idea, that you're, instead of decreasing the distance, you're capturing more people that live on that backside that can get to that bus stop more easily and utilize it. So we kind of have to wait to see if we got the other grant or not, because you wouldn't want to move it without a way for people to get across Bayshore. Just be.
Can you put that on the
unsafe.
map?
Sorry, I don't know Google Earth on this. I usually use Google Earth, but I'll try to make this as clear as possible. Which location do you want to see specifically, Chris? The bus stop? Okay, so, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, well, I guess this is what I meant to do. The bus stop's over here. It's where it currently is on the south side. So the grant application, and the way we had it initially, or the way we submitted it, was to move to the north side. And then we have to consider the addition of that traffic signal if that gets approved as well.
So if that gets approved, instead the bus stop would be moved potentially in the other direction then, rather than where the current proposal is pushing it toward?
Yeah, that is the request or the
request.
suggestion, yeah.
Okay, thank you for the update there, yeah.
I saw that Chris raised their hand, so let me find this. Oh, yes. Do we? Well, it's been said. Okay, Chris, I just promoted you to panelist, and you just need to unmute, and you should be good to go.
Okay, yeah, I hope we can be careful about this. Yes, it's true that at the council meeting, there were concerns about moving the bus stop north, and they were brought up by the council even before I spoke. That puts it very close to the bus stop that's already at Old County Road, and that would lead Samtrans to very likely say, hey, choose one or the other. And what we don't have a plan, and I'd suggest we come up with a couple of proposals and that we share them both with VWR, share them with the folks who live in the trailer park across the street there, and get some feedback before we go making any implementations. I also have huge reservations around a traffic signal at San Bruno. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that we should seriously consider, especially if we're planning on reducing the number of lanes on Bayshore to 1, but that's not a requirement for what I'm about to suggest. which is a traffic circle. There are 2-lane traffic circles. It's possible to do. I have some materials I could share with the committee. Traffic signals actually just increase the speed that people go because they become impatient waiting. You're either going 45 to 60 miles an hour or you are going 0. And you're going 0 for the duration of that light. So anyway, I don't want to mix up things here too much, but I think we need a comprehensive view of what's going on here and actually organize it so that it can be implemented in segments. And that will allow us to use the grant for as much as we can afford, the grant or the grants. But I would really like to not jump into a solution, but look at the potential solutions and come up with the best one. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Chris.
I think in terms of the traffic light, that has always been the plan, right? What was done before was sort of like, they didn't have the funds available, and they also wanted to test out. It's working to a certain point, and with the way the traffic is growing and so forth, I think a traffic light is going to be very useful because then you're going to have people from San Bruno, I'm assuming, once the traffic light's over there, that they could turn left. And right now, you cannot do that. Only buses could do that. But at the same time, it's just going to be more of a controlled intersection there. And in terms of speed, from the VW or the formerly VWR light to San Bruno, I'm not sure what the distance is. And I think there were some other speed readouts that they put on, and that seems to be working a little too. And there's always, some officers in the area as well.
Thank you, Christian. Yeah. I guess it was next item, Tomas, was there one other update?
Oh yeah, this is one more. This is if you guys remember this, I don't think Emily was here as I was providing updates, but the December 22 rainstorm that caused San Bruno. Let me get it since I have Google Maps open. Let's go there. If I can. Oh my God, what did I do? Well, anyways, for the San Bruno, after the storm damage that happened on San Bruno, okay, I don't know what I did here, but after the storm damage that resulted in mudslides on San Bruno Avenue, we actually applied for a federal grant to build a retaining wall there to prevent future mudslides, and the entire pretext was that we don't want this to happen again, and we've been doing this for a long time now. It's been almost 2 years, but we submitted our DAF, which is called a disaster assessment form, after months of back and forth. That was finally approved, and Caltrans directed us to request authorization for preliminary engineering, which includes a number of things, but one of the most important things is getting NEPA approval. That's the National Environmental Protection Act, and we got approval for that. And so basically what that says is that the proposed project has no negative impacts to the environment or residents. So that's just one significant hurdle that we got over when it comes to getting this wall built.
Awesome, thank you.
Where is that wall going to be built?
Let me see if let me refresh this page so I can start over here, but I'll show you exactly where.
Backside of San Bruno between,
by the building.
up from Gladys
So
and
when you
down
turn-
from Annis.
Yeah.
On the uphill side. There were a couple big slides on the New Year's Eve.
All right, so yeah, if you're seeing my screen, yeah, so it's this this stretch between Thomas and Gladys, and then I'll just go to the ground view just so you can kind of see where it'll become pretty clear where that could have happened. But we had pretty significant storm damage here. So, and then the retaining wall there'd be 2 retaining walls, one smaller one starting around here, going 40 feet, extending up the hillside, and then another one about 80 feet north of that one, and this is a 70-foot wall on this upper portion right here.
And there's been some plant growth there, but like the nasturtiums, the type of thing that have grown back, are not supporting the slope in enough way. So it was FHWA that funded this through, and Caltrans administers those funds. So probably all of San Bruno needs retaining walls, but they're only going to fund where disaster actually had happened. So
And is that city property or is that privately owned there on San Bruno where the wall's going to go?
the right-of-way line is close to the street, but it's in the street. And, you know, by building the road, that kind of created that slope there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty small space, but it is in our right of way. But
And there's not enough space to create a sidewalk by chance?
Not in the right
I think there's
of way,
one on
which
the
is-
other side, which is
No.
not in the best shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little sidewalk on the other side. Probably more right-of-way on that side. And, I mean, I've brought that up.
I
at
mean,
the-
maybe a bike lane. I don't know.
No, there's
don't know.
not. It's 20 feet of pavement. There's,
Yeah.
I've brought up the concept that if we did move the bus stop, or make changes at San Bruno and Bayshore, that we might, you know, in the future, we probably should be applying for grants to improve that sidewalk, because we know it's skinny. It's just, it drops off. It might need little retaining walls itself. It's not cheap to fix that. And there's not much right away on the uphill side to cut in more. It would make the walls taller, and people don't like the aesthetics. And we don't have that much property on that side. It's more on the downslope side.
Right, and so we had had a couple meetings with Caltrans, and they sent out their environmentalist people, and they were on site. And in addition to the environmental side, we also had to confirm that there was no conflicting utilities, just to make sure that if we're going to build this retaining wall, that's going that we're not going to destroy some lines. And also SFPUC has from what I understand, has a utility line going through here, so we had to make sure that we didn't conflict with that as well.
Oh, yeah, they have a transmission line that brings water to Brisbane. I thought you were going to update. Do you have another? Is that we, officially, we've now kicked off the parking permit program on Thomas. So we sent out the outreach materials and said, hey, you need to get your permit, and the company is online. So there's a page on our website that links to their page to apply for the permit. A handful of people have applied. So we did more outreach. Tomas and I put the letters up, a second set of letters, and the police, because the fulfillment will take a couple weeks, so you apply online. The cost now is $25 for a permit, and you'll get a hang tag mailed to you that you have to have on your car between the permit hours, for some of you that are newer, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., Sunday night to Thursday night, Sunday night through Thursday night until the next morning, so Sunday night to Friday morning, technically. And we have the signs up, but the police aren't going to enforce until December because nobody's got their hang tag yet, and we want to give people time. And then staff will do outreach and see how they like the program, and if they're happy with it, we're going to continue it there. And like we did outreach at Day in the Park, where other neighbors, if they think they have a problem in their neighborhood, we can help them kind of try to coordinate outreach if they want to get a program on their street.
And anyone who, so just so I'm clear, anyone who parks on Thomas from Sunday night to Friday morning and does not have a parking permit will get a ticket? Is that what? I don't understand that.
So each overnight until each next morning, not continuously. It's kind of hard to convey that, in a small sign or in materials, but so Sunday night 10 p.m. until Monday at 6 a.m. and then Monday night 10 p.m. to Tuesday at 6 a.m. But the council didn't want to fund, we talked about when we looked into this program with, an older version of the committee, a citywide permit program. And some people weren't really happy about it, and the council didn't want to just put that on everyone. So they wanted to do certain zones where the problem was worse, and we ended up reaching out to both Tulare and Thomas and got positive feedback from Thomas, not so much from Tulare at the time. So we just did a trial. We're doing this trial on Thomas, and on something that small, we still could have used someone that patrolled the streets and just issued tickets, and the idea was to make it neutral, but the council didn't want to spend funds on that, so it's complaint driven only. So if you live on that street, you see someone without a hang tag, you can call it at any time, but they can only ticket during those hours. So if you saw that car for 2 days, it was there overnight and it doesn't have a hang tag, the police will come out, check it out, and issue a ticket. So, we may not get much of that. We're going to have to see how it works. But the people on Thomas that we talked to, we did outreach about this. A lot of them said, and the goal of the program is to catch people that are storing excess cars on the street and airport parkers. And I guess they have a lot. They're kind of remote, and they say they have the airport parkers that leave their car and take out some luggage and get in an Uber and leave their car for a week. So it's not going to make a bunch of space on the street, because if you have a household with 4 adults with a driver's license and 4 different vehicles, you can get 4 permits. The idea the council wanted is every person that had a unique vehicle for themselves should be able to have a permit. So we don't even know if, it's going to eliminate those bigger problems, not the individual cars that people use. It's not going to limit them that way. But on Thomas, each apartment has 1 parking space on site. So we're hoping it'll be manageable. Anyway, so yeah, we'll let you know further down the road as it gets rolling, how that's going.
Yeah, I mean, that's good to know that that's being implemented. We spent a lot of time on that, and there was a lot of back and forth, and we landed in that type of, it's not necessarily a pilot study, but, to start small. So when do you think you would do like an assessment to see if it's making sense, or you just going to leave that there and see if other people feel that it's effective and they could just do the same?
6 months. That's what
6
the council asked us, and it is a pilot. It's a test for that period of time. So at the 6-month mark.
I do see Chris raising her hand on this. If you want to unmute, Chris.
Yeah, there are 29 comments on Facebook about this particular item. Surprisingly, there are people on Thomas who claim to not know this was happening. Be that as it may, what the sign actually says, however, it doesn't seem consistent with what was just described. It says no parking 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Sunday to Thursday, except vehicles with Thomas Avenue permits, BMC 102660. That suggests that between Friday and Sunday, all bets are off and anyone can park anytime.
That's actually true.
Thank you for the comment, Chris. Yeah.
Okay, but if you'd like to send whoever can look at Facebook, there are a tremendous number of comments, and some people on Thomas seem blindsided. And the rest of the community apparently has no information about this and are taking some offense to the fact that this is going on without their awareness. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah. Is there a Facebook outreach group from the city that handles this kind of stuff at all? Is that something that typically is responded to, or is that more social media kind of stuff?
Well, I mean, we gave people a way to contact us. So residents of Brisbane Facebook is just people venting to each other, in my opinion. I mean, I think there are our communication staff does monitor it, but nobody has told us this. So, not being a member, it's not the way that I'm going to be able to respond.
So is the committee of the hook? And then the other question is, should this be monitored a little more closer, just to,
No, it's at the council level now. I'm just keeping you guys informed because you've kind of formed the program, the first draft and the recommendation, but you don't have to play a role in the next steps. It's, the council has their names on this now and the staff.
So essentially, it's a resident enforced, basis, and they have, obviously, if the vehicle has the sticker or the sign, that means that it's supposed to be there. And I remember, are they also reporting that through the app?
Yeah, people can do their complaints either with a phone call. There's the police already have a hotline, so they can leave the message there, or they can use a web form on the website. And, we've done, I don't know what people are saying. We mailed a letter to every address, and then we went to every address. And if someone didn't answer the door and talk to us, we left another letter in their doorway. So unless it melted, some people should have gotten that letter. And now we've done, with the program starting, mailed another letter to every address that was, when was that? Like 2 weeks ago. And then went out today and put another address, another letter on in every door, because you can't leave them in the mailbox. That's not legal. That someone hadn't gone into the system and applied for the permit, because we've only had like 9 or 10 people apply so far. And there were a couple people that didn't want it. I remember one that didn't want to pay $25, and some of those people maybe are upset. A few of them weren't in favor, but most of them were in favor. So,
Thank you. Yeah. All right.
One more quick one, just regarding AB 413. I'll just quickly go through it. I pretty much have it all finalized. Just waiting on the review from Karen and Randy as well. But basically, what I did was for it's kind of a very tedious thing to put together. But what I would do is I created a map of Brisbane, and I would designate each approach as one area. So, for example, Mariposa Visitation going eastbound and westbound is one location, and then I would just put together PDFs kind of explaining what changes needs to be there, the pictures, and just really describing this probably like 40 times. So it was a very tedious thing to put together, just because you have to make sure. You have to make sure you're getting every single one throughout the city, but that's pretty much finalized, and we want to get that out as soon as possible. I think we're slightly behind because we said October, but here we are in November, and it's just about ready to go out for quotes from contractors.
Cool. Thank you, Tomas. Yeah. I think that was some work that the committee had done previously, kind of go scoping, and then Tomas compiled and sort of followed up on a lot of that.
Right, yeah, and thank you guys for that, because it was such a, just, like I said, tedious thing to do.
Yeah, great. All right, moving along then to chair and committee member matters. I did want to sort of ask, is there any follow-up? I know, I guess regarding some of the comments from 2 meetings ago, I guess maybe last meeting, 2 meetings ago, regarding San Benito Street and some of the speeding issues there, that is sort of being followed up on and will be monitored a bit. I'm assuming it's too early for updates there yet.
Right. The way when we got those comments last week from people at this meeting, as you know, we have a speeding issue on the work plan. It's kind of a general citywide issue. So my understanding was that we would get through this work plan item, and then when we revisit with the liaisons and kind of set our direction for the next year, we would incorporate those comments, take everything into consideration, and then go from there. But but it's definitely being considered and noted, and just in my own head, I've kind of internalized it to be it's part of that work plan item.
and we have one set of speed counters that we asked the police, manage it now, to put out on Monterey after the last meeting. So we couldn't collect that data on San Benito yet until we've made sure we got the data for this project.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Any other committee member matters?
Yes, so I ended up meeting or speaking for a bit with a representative of the Baylands project, and I so I asked her that I would ask you guys if it's okay with you guys for her to give a presentation, but to sort of narrow her focus on how is this Baylands development is going to impact, in general, the street aspect, and mainly the bike lanes and so forth. So if you guys are okay with that, I could probably send an email, and I know, down the road we could probably have her come and just give us a presentation on that. Because I noticed, in the past, it's something that I particularly have asked, and there's a lot of speculation, how's that going to play out. We do have that document that talks about the different, the bike lanes and different components of Brisbane. But now with the Baylands, it will be good just to see how is that going, what they have in mind, and how is that going to connect with what Brisbane has.
I definitely want to bring that up to a higher level on the staff side. And I think we'd really want to know that they had an application in, because you wouldn't want to publicly prejudge something that isn't, like, available for everyone to review. So who are you in contact with? Do you remember?
I was sent an email, which is sort of the either like a PR or some sort of a manager of the program.
Yeah. Do you have a name?
Let me
Or you
see
could
if
give it to me. You could give it to me later. That's fine. So let me ask at,
I mean,
the software.
the way I looked at it was mainly, for information. I'm not sure. I mean, we're not going to have any, any official thing coming out of it, but it's just mainly to inform us, because as I said before, there's been a lot of speculation as how is the bike route and other initiative that we have in Brisbane are going to connect with the Baylands. And I don't know, if what they have is final, but it's just to have an understanding where things are right now. It's almost like a snapshot where things are now.
Yeah, so they are still doing their environmental analysis. So I don't know, I think I will ask, but I think they're now, in the future, it's a great idea. We would be a great place to get the public to know about what they're proposing. But again, I don't think we want to be in the position of publicly prejudging an application before it's submitted. I mean, I've experienced other cases where, oh, well, someone's building this house here and I don't like it. Let's talk about it. Well, there's not an application. This is someone talking about doing something. So it's not a good place to go. And this is, you're presenting this differently, but I definitely need to check. And that their timing would be, there's probably a very good time for it. It's probably early now though, because they don't even have their EIR out, but supposedly towards the end of the year, they're supposed to be having the EIR ready.
Okay.
It's projected.
So I mean, just keep me posted if there's something that we're able to do, so I could give her some heads up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll want to be in contact with that person when it gets down to it also.
So I'll send an email and then you could take it from there.
Okay, yeah.
Great. Thank you, Christian. Emily, anything? Paul, anything for committee member matters?
No. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, I guess in that case, we'll move towards adjournment. The next meeting will not be December 4th. It will be December 3rd, but we will confirm that. Correct, December 3rd? Yeah. December 3rd at the library instead as a public outreach meeting potentially, but we'll confirm that time. And with that then, today's meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.